ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Wild Game Anglers podcast. I'm Henry Vine, and today I'm thrilled to introduce a very special guest, someone who truly embodies passion, creativity, and resilience. Ryan, the visionary behind the exceptional YouTube channel Jumbotron, has captured the hearts of viewers with his breathtaking fishing adventures in Colorado's paradise-like landscapes. With a talent for reeling in stunning brown and rainbow trout or hunting mountain goats, Ryan takes us on a visual journey featuring magnificent drone footage that showcases nature's splendor. And if that weren't impressive enough, he manages to juggle all this while being a dedicated father to four kids. Join us as we dive into Ryan's world, exploring his adventures, creativity, and what it takes to balance his passion and family life. Get ready for an inspiring conversation that will leave you hooked. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's fun to be on here. I've been seeing your podcast videos scroll by on my YouTube feed, but with the new baby that just came, I haven't been able to partake, but I'm anxious to be a part of it, even though I haven't been able to watch them.
Well, that's completely understandable, and I just want to say congratulations for a fourth child.
Yep.
So you're a brave man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's I'm an old man and I'm an old dad. My wife and I didn't start having kids till we were kind of in our late 30s. So we're kind of yeah, well, we don't know what we're doing right now. We're just trying to fit
You're on an
everybody
adventure.
fit everybody in this house. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're on
yeah,
an adventure. So, but it's fun and family's super important to my wife and I, and that's yeah, I love having the kids, and I just at the dinner table at night, I look around and I see their faces,
yeah.
and it just really makes my day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing better, and I don't think we can handle any more faces, but
Oh, no.
the more faces, the better, if you ask
Well, I,
me.
I lift I lift my hat off to you because I have two, and to be honest with you, I do agree what you're saying though. After a long day at work, it's nice to see that family life. When they
Yeah,
come home. Right now, mine are at daycare, but when they come home, it's just like a tornado that rides in the house.
yeah, yeah. Oh
But
yeah,
it's a
and
good tornado.
it is a good tornado, and people are always saying, "Oh man, the days go." Someday you'll look back and you'll
Oh
wish these
yeah,
days were back. And I go, "Am I really going to?" But I know I will. But it's really hard when you're in the middle of it because there's
oh
just
yeah,
you get pulled in so many directions. But
yeah,
it's a labor of love. So it's a good thing.
yeah. It is. So about your passion for fishing, what inspired your love for fishing, and how did it lead to the creation of Jumbotron?
Oh gosh. Well, so this is the thing. So I have a lot of passions. So that's why it's called Jumbotron, because
Yeah,
it's supposed to sound like Jumbotron, like the thing you watch at a big sporting
yeah,
event, but it's a jumble because I just never know what's going to pique my interest from one moment to the next. So um one of my biggest interests is fishing, and it always has been. So I like, I throw in fishing stuff all the time just because it's such a big part of who I am. I don't. My wife she thinks fishing is the most boring thing in the world, and I've
boo.
always been like this. That if like ever since I was a little kid, I remember like the first time I caught a little catfish on a little pole that kind of fell apart the second I caught the fish, and I was
Yeah,
probably 5 years old or something like that.
yeah,
I was hooked. I mean, I could sit there at the edge of the water and I was always like, maybe I'll catch one, and maybe I'll catch one, maybe I'll catch one, maybe I'll catch another one, whatever it
yeah.
is. And it's addictive for me. And I don't know. I don't eat and I don't drink when I'm fishing.
No, I'm the
And,
same.
and, and then I'm like, oh man, I like get in the car when I'm going home, like, man, I'm hungry, but it's because my brain is just so focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's always been that way that I just completely lose myself in when I'm doing that. And I think that's why I like it because, as you get older and you have a family and you have work and you have responsibilities, the best thing you can do to kind of is find something that you can escape from that a little
yeah,
bit, and just kind of find some relaxation or something to steal your
yeah.
attention for a minute. So yeah, so fishing's always been that for me, and I was lucky to grow up. I grew up in Illinois, and my aunt had a house on a lake, and so we'd spend some, every we'd spend a few weekends there in the summer, and and I just loved and I love nature and I developed a love for nature just especially being out at her house. Um, and that was so I'd fish out there and I'd go in the woods out there and things like that. And it was always like, I don't know, I'd pretend that I was, on some adventure when I'm out in
Yeah.
the woods, and find some raspberry bushes and start foraging and,
Yeah.
thinking I'm, doing something really cool. So just nature and fishing, they kind of go hand in hand, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky to grow up and have access to that. And then as I got older, my dad got us like a membership to a strip mine. Like when in Illinois, they used to mine coal and they call it strip mining. And then
Okay.
when the mine's empty, they fill it with water and then you could go fish there eventually. They'd stock it and stuff.
Okay.
So we had like a kind of a weird shaped lake. It was like a long, skinny lake that kind of had some jogs in it. And we'd go out there and we'd bass fish, my dad and I. And then he brought me and we'd go to Florida on vacation when I was a kid.
Okay.
And so I'd always fish when I was down there on vacation because you never know what you're pulling out of the saltwater, which
Yeah.
I truly love saltwater fishing. It's like my absolute favorite. I don't get to do it very often because I'm in a landlocked state, but
Yeah.
um the getting to do that in Florida was great too. And then when I was in high school, I think I was in high school, my dad well, there was one trip we took with my neighbors. Actually went up to Canada. So we went to Ontario and we fished for pike and I think walleye.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think we caught many walleye. I think we mostly caught pike. Um, but so we fished for pike and walleye. That was a load of fun. And we flew in, landed on the water and all that stuff. It was a float plane.
Yeah.
It was like the
That's the dream
coolest.
trip.
Yeah, yeah, that was a pretty cool trip, and so I'm grateful that my dad lined that up. With it was our next door neighbors. They always went up there year after year, and he lined it up. One year they needed, two more, so my dad said, "Okay, let's go."
Oh yeah.
And then the other good thing he did for me was my dad he was in Vietnam, so he's a Vietnam vet, and
Okay.
one of his best friends from Vietnam lives here in Colorado. And he goes, "Hey, let me look up and see if he'll take us fishing." And so I don't think I'd been on a plane really. I think that was my first like jet flight. And
Okay.
so that may have been before. I think that was before the Canada trip. But they were so close and it's so long ago. It's hard for me to remember. But we flew out here to Colorado, and his friend took us up into Wyoming, and we did some fishing and fly fishing. And I'd
Oh yeah.
never been fly fishing before, but I was like, I can figure this out. And sure enough, here I am in the middle of these beautiful canyons with this water, and I'm trout fishing. Like I feel like I'm on a fishing show, you know?
Yeah.
And I just loved every second of it. And I was like, someday I want to move to Colorado. And so took a few more years because I hadn't even gone to college yet, you know.
Okay.
Eventually I made my way out here and then, life got kind of crazy and I didn't fish as much as I wanted to. But then a few years ago, I said, "Man, I want to I want to set up this." I had gotten like a cheap fishing reel from Cabela's in their bargain cave.
Okay.
And I want to get like a rod for this and then go test it out. So I went and tested it out, and This was like right when the channel was starting, I think. I think I'd already bought the camera and I had that stuff, and I was just doing random stuff. But then I said, let me go try out this new rod and reel that I got. And I kind of set it up for my birthday or something like that. And I went out and I caught this 18-inch brown trout and I was like, this
Yeah.
is incredible. This is a nice fish. I didn't even realize like 18 is pretty good. I don't think I've caught anyone that long in that stream since.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I was like, I got to go back. So then I started going back, and now I know that water well. And that's the main stream where I go, and it's about 35 minutes away from where I live,
Okay.
which is not bad. I'm
No,
not
not at all.
that's it. And for me to get to do that, I kind of like reignited that love I had for fishing. So that kind of became a focal point of the YouTube channel after
Okay.
that point because I knew I love fishing. It's just sometimes when you don't know where to go, you're
Mm-hmm.
just like, well, I don't know what to do, and because I hadn't done a ton of fishing in Colorado, I didn't have any spots.
Yeah.
But because I had my kids, I go, I need to get out there and find some spots so that when they're older, I know where to take them and where we can go do some fun things like this. So
Yeah.
that was part of it. Part of it was I wanted to test out that gear, but then the other part was I do want to be able to take my kids out more and more.
Yeah.
It's harder because they got to learn to cast.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's some teaching and some patience, but
Yeah.
you'll succeed at teaching them.
Yeah, I hope so. They don't
Eh,
listen to me very much, but maybe they'll listen to something.
Over the years, though, you've found some amazing spots.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I found a few good ones. Like I say, that's my go-to is that stream just because it's close, but it's also very pretty though. I mean, I've seen elk there, I've seen deer, I've seen turkeys
Yeah.
and bald eagles flying over, ospreys come in the summer months. There's beavers going by. The trout are beautiful because I think the water, and this is my theory, because I've caught trout over on the Colorado River and it's kind of muddy,
Okay.
and the trout are really drab. They're not very bright, but that water's super clear, and the fish are just pop. Like you've seen
Oh,
some of
yeah.
the photos, and so there's that one photo I sent you that with
Yeah.
it's on the ice crystals, and I,
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite photos, even though the fish isn't like anything to write home about the fish just pops and then the,
All the
the
colors
background
on them. Oh,
is
yeah.
so cool. Yeah. And so I just love going back there and I'm like, man, people are gonna get sick of seeing this, but it's because
The
it's the same
contrary,
spot.
we don't have these fish to look at,
Right,
you know?
right.
And your
Yeah,
scenic footage also.
right. So yeah, so I like going back there. And then there gets to be this kind of the YouTube monster. So you start going, oh, I should go to a place where I know the lay of the land so I can get
Yeah.
because if you explore and you fail, you don't have anything for your video.
Yeah, well, I know what
Um,
you mean for that because s- I used to explore a lot when I didn't have my YouTube channel, when I wasn't filming. That's when I would look for spots, Google Maps, take my car and go. And then I
yeah,
got comfortable, I believe, finding that I found the fish. I found some good spots. I got peace of mind. And then I started doing YouTube. And now I just want video. I want how can I say this? I want like fish. I want
yeah,
successful
yeah,
YouTube videos. So I
right.
stopped exploring. So now if you're looking at my channel over the years, I'm
Yeah,
always at the same places. So now
yeah,
I in 2025, my goal is to start exploring again with the camera and show the truth. I'll explore. If I don't catch a fish, I don't catch a fish, but at least I'll have some content anyways.
yeah, yeah. It's always a debate in my head. I go to a certain extent. Yes, there's certain people that follow the channel because they gravitate towards you as a person, right?
Yeah,
Um, but then there's other people that they're like, hey, I want to, and this is the main. I mean, one of the reasons I try to showcase things the way I do is I remember watching fishing shows as a kid, and I love seeing the places where these people were. I love seeing the fish, and 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 to me it wasn't. I didn't watch those shows to learn the techniques.
yeah,
Like I really didn't, and maybe I should have. I'd be a much better fisherman. Um, but I feel like technique is something you learn hands on. And for me, I was just watching it because I'm like, oh man, look at that fish they caught. Oh man, look at that place. So I feel
yeah,
like that's why I try to showcase the area and and again, nature's beautiful. And
yeah.
so I just let the place do the work. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like
Well,
to fish. I'm not a phenomenal fisherman by any stretch. I can get
well, you're
by.
really good. You're really good.
No,
You're
no,
you're 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 a master at the fish of your area. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
brown
Eh,
trout, rainbow trout, and you're catching some nice, stunning fish.
there's some guys,
Yeah,
there's
you got
some
to give
guys that
yourself a little more credit.
Well, there's some guys that take it a lot more seriously than me because
Yeah,
I find a fly that does the work. I'm like, hey, I can catch about 5 fish on this fly. But there's other guys that are out there. They're like, checking, what's under a rock, and they know what they're
yeah,
fishing on, and
yeah,
they can
yeah.
probably catch 20 fish where I catch five.
There's always another level of fishermen, that's for sure.
Yeah, Yeah. And so but I try not to take it too seriously. And, there's some fly fishermen that would never pick up a spinning rod. And I'm like, I just don't care. I just want to catch fish.
Yeah.
I'll put in a
Yeah.
fly rod. I'll put in a spinning rod. I don't care.
Yeah.
When I take the
I'll
kids out, I'll throw some bait on there if I have to.
yeah, there we
As
go.
long as it's illegal,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Y
yeah.
Your drone footage is stunning. And you just said that you let the nature do the work. I was gonna ask you, how do you plan and execute those shots?
Well, there's no planning really. I
No?
mean,
You just
the
throw the drone up there and
I mean, like I say, the scenery here. That's the nice thing, is you can get to a lot of beautiful places in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, it's a big place too, right?
yeah,
But there's just, I mean, I just look around when I'm at these places and I go, well, that's cool. Like this
yeah,
is what I think is cool looking. So I try to, like incorporate them when when I'm on a flight path with a drone. I'm just going, oh, I gotta make sure I'm getting that peak over there because I think that's the coolest peak around.
yeah,
Or, if there's these giant boulders in the river, I'm like, oh yeah, I wanna see showcase those boulders because I
yeah,
think they're cool that they're there. So it's really whatever I think is cool. I'm just showing other people what I get to take in.
yeah,
And it helps me too because especially when you're fishing, you're on a mission, right?
yeah,
So sometimes you're not really taking it all in, but when you got to sit there and take a step back and fly a drone, you go, okay, what's cool out here?
yeah, you're absolutely
And
right.
yeah, and certain things like I sent you some drone footage to mix in if you want, but one of those places it's just that when you get there early and it's in the fall and the leaves are yellow and the
Hmm.
water's like glass, I'm like I don't even know where to start kind of because there's just so much to showcase because that water just reflects everything so perfectly.
Yeah,
And then you got the fall colors and then there's snowy peaks in the background. I mean, I mean, thankfully I go to places and there's not like 20 things that need to be showcased.
yeah,
It's usually there's like one, two or three things that I'm like, oh, that would make for a good shot. But yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to be in a place like this and just yeah. I mean, the landscape does the work. I just
yeah,
gotta frame it.
yeah,
And then my other trick is I try not to turn the drone.
yeah. Okay.
I figured that out because I go every time I was editing, I go, oh, why did I turn
Yeah,
right? I would have just kept going straight. I would have had like
yeah. I know what you
the
mean there.
right length of footage. So I try to just go really slow, find a nice straight path, and then just go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I noticed that too when I'm editing my drone footage. I'm always like,
Yeah.
ah, why did I turn there? It's like it ruins everything.
Yes, yes. So you learn as you go.
Yeah. Have
There's a
you ever had any unexpected challenges while filming in remote areas?
uh well, there's a couple that come to mind. One of them was I don't know if you saw it was probably a while ago. I think well actually I think it was maybe 2 years ago. I was fishing up in this one area where I catch brook trout, and they're all teeny. But I used to be able to catch them in the mainstream, but now they've all kind of relocated and they're kind of finicky. And
Okay.
I go up there in May sometimes. But I was up there and I just had this. I kind of went upstream to see how far it was fishable. And then I got into some like there's crazy snow drifts and things like that, and I couldn't get far. But then I came back and I'm sitting there fishing and I just get this feel. I don't know what it is. Like you get this feeling you're being watched, and I look over and there's a moose,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
oh okay, hey moose, I try to make myself known, and then so I just keep fishing this little hole I'm in. Well, then he starts walking towards me. He or she, it may have been a bull without antlers, like a younger bull.
Yeah.
But he or she starts walking towards me, and then I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you're getting a little close. So I try to get out of there. I'm like, I'm gonna scooch down a bit. It just keeps coming. So then it drops into that hole that I was fishing in, and I'm like, okay, well, if it goes, maybe it's gonna go into these like willows in this marshy area.
Yeah.
No, it starts turning towards me again. So I'm like, okay, and I try to keep my head on a swivel and I don't want to get in a situation. That's the last thing I want.
Yeah.
So I tried to avoid it, and then man, it just kept the river kind of zigzagged.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna go down this way, and then I'm fishing, I look, and then here he is at the next bend, and he's coming back towards me, and I go, oh my God. So I kind of not ran, I scooched down the river,
Yeah.
and there were people that were hiking in the area, and they had dogs, and so I kind of let them know, hey, you make sure your dogs are on a leash because moose and dogs do not
No.
go well together. So I kind of let them know, and then they're all going, "Oh wow, a moose!" And meanwhile, I'm using them as a shield. I'm getting
Yeah.
up on the trail. They're just looking at the moose, and I'm getting out of there. I'm like, because I've I've run into moose a lot in Colorado. Sometimes hunting, like
Oh yeah.
sometimes hunting trips. Usually when we're not hunting for moose, that's when
Yeah,
we
that's when we see them, eh?
yeah, exactly. Um, but this that trip, I remember just being like, all right, just play it cool, and then
Well, they're known to attack, eh? Actually here in Canada, I believe there's more moose attacks on people than black bear attacks.
right. Well, yeah, and I've never seen a bear. I've seen a bear in Canada on that one trip I was telling you about.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever seen a bear in the United States, not in the wild, or sorry, in North America in the wild. I've never
In
seen one.
Colorado, though, isn't there any black, I mean grizzly bears?
There's no grizzly bears in Colorado, so.
Okay, I thought there would be in the Rockies, the end of the Rockies.
No, they the last one was killed in like either the late 70s, I think. I think
Okay.
it attacked an archery hunter,
Okay.
and, and it was really emaciated, like, it's like the last grizzly bear couldn't get enough food. And he actually took one of his arrows and hit it in the eye and killed it.
Oh yeah.
It was attacking him. So but that's the last known sighting of a grizzly, or that's the last known grizzly that was in Colorado. And I'm kind of grateful because grizzlies scare the what out of me. So
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Um, so yeah, mountain lions are here, black
Yeah.
bears are here. Never seen a black bear, never seen a mountain lion.
All
Um,
the
I've
better.
I've caught them on cameras, on game cameras, but I've never
Yeah.
seen one in person. So
Black bear, to be honest, I don't know how big they get in your area, but here where I'm fishing, they don't really scare me. They're actually pretty small. And whenever I did come across one, they run away. Unless
yeah,
for sure, if I see one with babies, then I'll be
yeah,
more cautious. But
yeah,
usually, I'm not too nervous with a black bear.
yeah, they're pretty skittish, from what I know, which is probably why I've never seen one. But yeah, I still don't want to. I don't want to have a run in. But big cats, no, no thanks. And now they're trying to reintroduce wolves in Colorado.
Okay. They reintroduced them not too far away, I believe, eh? Montana or?
No, well, yeah, yeah, I think they're in Montana and Wyoming already. But then Colorado, they voted to reintroduce wolves, and they're trying to get a pack going, and they're
What's your
running.
opinion on this?
I don't think so. It was up to a popular vote basically.
Okay.
And a lot of most of the population is in urban areas that are voting for things that impact the entire state and the ranchers on the western side of the state. So I don't think that's very fair. We'll see how successful the reintroduction is. I know they're spending a lot of money on it, so
Yeah.
I I don't know that it's the right decision at this point in time.
Do they
Especially
have enough like food? Like
that's
what is it
that's
to
the thing.
control
So
the elk
they're
or?
they're attacking livestock now. A
Yeah, well
lot of
that's it.
but then the elk and deer populations aren't exactly in out like if they were like overabundant, that'd be one thing, but they're
Yeah.
not. So I don't think introducing another apex predator is
No, I don't
the
think so
right
either.
move.
And you
That's my
guys
that's
already
my
have
personal
coyotes.
opinion. Right. So
So,
not I don't think it's the right thing. I don't think it's something that should be left up to, a popular vote. Just say, hey, yeah, I mean, I think wildlife biologists should make these decisions, people who know the impact, not just somebody who says, oh, wolves are cool. I'd like to
yeah.
vote for them. But, it passed, so it's a
Yeah.
part of life now. But
Well, they
uh,
were there before, right? So, I guess it's
yeah,
just to reintroduce them into their natural habitat as they
yeah,
were eliminated by man, right?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They were there before. It's just, things are different now.
Yeah.
It's a different landscape now when you
Yeah.
got ski resorts everywhere and
Yeah.
towns everywhere and ranches and stuff like that. It's just different. But anyhow,
Yeah. What's something about Colorado's outdoors that you wish more people knew about?
oh, that I wish more people knew about. Um, I don't know. I can't think. I mean, I think people, that's the thing about Colorado is it's hard to keep anything hidden here. There's actually a lot of people here. And
Okay.
so, um, some of the spots I go to, I know you were kind of chatting back and forth with me at one point about, like, do you worry about, you know, overexposing certain places or things like that?
Well, that
And
was actually going to be my next question. Honestly.
well, yeah, so that's the thing is, like that stream I go to, it's extremely popular.
Okay.
Um, and so usually I try to go on days when I know that it's not going to be as crowded, but it's not like it's a well-guarded secret or anything like that. I mean,
Okay.
it's a very popular stream to go to. So
Well, it's
I'm
impressive that you're still catching some quality fish and quantity also. You're still catching, like you'll have some outings where you're going to catch three or four. Usually,
yeah,
when there's a high pressure at a location, you go and you're lucky if you catch one.
yeah. I think a lot of people fly fish down there.
Okay.
And so those days when I catch like 10 or 11, when the water's a little murky and you can trick the fish a little better,
Yeah.
um, I'll be using like a Rapala trout jerkbait or something like
Yeah.
that, and they'll just go nuts for it.
Yeah.
And so being, I think having the flexibility to say, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to fly fish when the water is this murky,
Yeah.
and you can really make a killing, So, flexibility sometimes helps, but again, I try to go on days when they're not so highly pressured.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like trout, I mean, they're still fish, they're not like it's not like we're catching dolphins that have like huge
No.
brains that can do problem solving. They get hungry, they see something that looks like food and they go for it.
Yeah.
There can be a lot of pressure, but at some point they got to eat. So
Yeah.
you just got to put something in front of them that's gonna get their
So the
reaction.
population of trout is actually pretty good. Is it
So
natural or are they stocked?
So they do stock it. I don't think they stock the browns. I think they stock rainbows, and I think they stock a few cut bows in there.
Okay.
Um, but I think the browns mainly are. I mean, they were introduced at some point in the history of Colorado. I think the browns pretty much hold the population over from year to year, and the
Okay.
water stays cold, so it's not like some of the eastern states in the U.S. Like Pennsylvania, they'll stock the trout, and then there'll be some holdovers depending on the body of water. But a lot of them can't survive because the water gets warmer in
Yeah.
the summer and things like that. We don't have that issue here. So if if they're not if they're not surviving, it could be just because anglers, that some are gonna get,
Improper release or
yeah, or they get hurt. Sometimes they just swallow a hook.
yeah.
Some people, I just found out, and I didn't realize this, but the stretch where I've been fishing, I thought it was catch and release all these years, and it's actually you can keep the fish, and I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah.
I always thought it was catch and release, and you can use live bait, which I didn't think that was possible. But
Oh yeah.
this one, it stops at a certain point, but it's further up from where I'm
Okay.
fishing. So, but anyhow, so a lot of these places are there. People know about these. The good thing about Colorado is that it's big, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of people, but there's also a lot of places. So not everybody's going to descend on one place. It's like there's so many, things to
Yeah.
choose from that, it's so it's just
Did you manage to find any hidden spots? Like
hidden spots.
locations that you keep from like for yourself or like barely anybody knows?
I so that really glassy lake that I sent you the footage of,
Yeah.
it's I don't want to say it's a hidden spot, but I feel like it's an overlooked spot. I
Okay.
don't I don't feel it gets as much traffic as it should. It gets plenty of traffic, don't get me wrong. But in the fall, because okay, when here's the thing, Colorado, we don't have beautiful foliage like everybody has east,
Yeah.
like where the colors pop, right? We have
Yeah.
one color and it's yellow,
Okay.
and maybe orange and maybe a little red, but it's all from aspen trees. And so when the aspens start changing, everybody from all the metro areas want to go up and look at the aspens changing.
Okay.
Uh, that place it's a great spot, and you'd be surprised, like it's not as crowded as the others. And so I went fishing there, 3 years ago in the fall, and I had a great day. It was a Friday, so it's not very crowded on a Friday. Most
Yeah.
people are working. So I went up on a Friday and I had a decent day of fishing, caught a bunch of brook trout. And then I came home and I told my wife, I go, oh my gosh, you should have seen the leaves. They were just great. And I go, let's go up there tomorrow and let's go do a hike. And usually if it's a Saturday in the fall, it's like, the traffic's going to be horrible. And it wasn't bad at all. And we got up there and it was beautiful. We had a nice hike with the kids and I even fished. I caught a nice brown trout, like right off the bank,
Yeah.
just being silly, just like, I wonder if I'll catch a fish and caught a really decent brown. And I was like, this is great. So, yeah, that place is kind of a special place for me, but, and then there's one lake where I go and I've taken a few people up there. I took one guy, his name is Josh. He's the Water Swatters. I don't know if you know his channel.
No.
So he,
Oh, I think you did a collaboration with him, eh?
yeah, yeah, we
Then
did a
they're like with
collaboration.
the altitude, you guys are going up high in the altitude.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But he's got like 250,000 subscribers now. That dude's famous.
Wow, that's incredible.
I tell him that he's like, I ain't famous, but he's a really nice guy. We had a great hike up there. But I took him up to that spot because that spot, and he and I went in June, but in August, it's like every other cast you're catching a trout.
Oh yeah.
And so that's like one of my favorite places. But then, do I worry that people are gonna go up there? You got to hike 5 miles and
Yeah.
it's uphill. So
If the guy goes, he deserves it.
if people want to do that, they're more than
Yeah.
welcome to. So, um, and I think you do reap the benefits when you put in the work like that because it is harder to get to. So you I mean
Yeah.
I love going there because for one it's beautiful. For
Yeah.
two, it's a fun hike, and then for three, the fishing is out of this world. And even people on the trail, they go, "There's fish up there." They don't even know that there's fish in these lakes up there. So
Yeah.
so I like going up there and like I say, I need to branch out more and go to some new places, but there's always this balance of time and family and
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to be, if I drive 4 hours, I got to drive back 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it's always a balance. So
How do you
some
manage to balance your passion for fishing and filming with being a father of four?
I have a really great wife. So she understands like what makes me tick. So I think she's like,
Yeah.
as long as, and when the kids are in school, it makes it a little easier too, right? So,
Yeah.
like I got to go fishing the other day, and two of our kids are in school, one's in daycare, and then she had the
Yeah.
baby, and it was just her and the baby, and she's like, "Go ahead, go. I'm fine, no worries." And I was like, "I won't be gone too long." And so, it worked out great, and I'm grateful that she's willing to, send me off and let me go when I when I can. So, and she knows how much I love fishing. I mean, she really knows that. I mean, she
I,
doesn't understand it, but she
yeah.
she knows that I love it. So that's good. And then with like hunting, that's the one that really always, I don't know what it is when I get out there, and especially hunting's for me, and hunting's very challenging.
Yeah.
I grew up hunting a little bit, but it was like ducks and geese and pheasant and quail. It wasn't until I met some people out here and they had been on this quest to get an elk, and I started tagging along with them, and then I started changing the plan. I go, you guys need to get out when they're like rutting,
Yeah, for sure.
and so then we ended up. I helped my buddy Joe get a bull one year, and we was like, all right, we did it. And then
Yeah.
man, I got lucky these last 2 years. I got a moose tag and then a goat tag, and those are it's the being apart from family like for
Yeah.
a few hours is not a big deal. When it goes more than one day, and you start to go, are they doing okay? And like
Yeah.
you really start to feel like I shouldn't be out here. I should be back helping. And
Yeah.
and I don't particularly like that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when I was on that moose hunt, I had set up cameras. We'd seen moose all the time in these spots, and we weren't seeing anything. And so we went to our first spot, which we're like, we're gonna get one here, and then we didn't see anything. Went to the second spot, we're like, well, surely we'll get one here. Didn't see anything. And so we're like 3 or 4 days in at this point. And I called my wife and I go, I don't know what to do. And she goes, you'll get one. Just keep at it. And I was like, are you sure you're okay? And
Yeah.
she's like, we're fine. Don't worry about us, like go get your moose, okay? And because it's kind of a once in a lifetime tag too,
Okay.
So, um, so when she, a little encouragement, I was like, all right, let's do this. And then sure enough, we went to the third spot and we were in the moose big time. Um, so yeah, that was yeah, that's good to have encouragement from your
Well, I feel
better
like
half.
I feel we have so far. You said so much stuff that I find we have a lot of similarities, and it's the same with my wife. She understands my addiction.
Yes.
And like she'll feel it like when I need to go. And like catching a fish, like I went out last Friday after work. I came home and I told my wife I gotta go fishing because us it's the last day of the season today. But we
Yeah.
had rain all weekend and the rivers are flooded, they're brown, it's no good.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna close for a month and a half for well, what's the word again? They're for the babies. They're gonna
That's
they're
spawning,
yeah, the
right?
spawning. I'm sorry for that. The French
Oh,
word was
you're
coming
good.
to my
You're
mind.
good.
And
Yep. It's all
yeah,
good.
so last Friday I told my wife it would be my last time. She's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And the walleye was the first fish I catch since last October.
Oh, wow.
And it felt good, the
Yeah.
dopamine rush inside, and
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like I need that. And I caught the two walleye, and I was like, wow, I brought them home to eat, doing the fillets, cooking them. I
Oh,
felt
wow.
like my weekend was already finished on Friday evening in my mind. It's like I felt rejuvenated.
Did you film that?
No, I didn't film that one.
Come on, man.
I know,
Captain
I
Cook. That
know,
would have
I
been so
know.
good.
It would have been good. And you know what? I didn't film because I just wanted to do a quick session. And
Yeah.
I have a story that would have been the best on film.
Oh,
Is
man.
what I did is the first walleye I caught, the bite wasn't really that good because the water level was high. It's still very
Right.
cold. I had to downsize my lure until I finally convinced one. And it was a nice walleye, 40 centimeters about. So I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to leave them in my net as a live well. So I put my net in the water, sticking out a bit. The walleye's in the net. I put a stone on the net to make sure it doesn't go away with the current. The walleye's staying there. And then maybe an hour later, that's how bad the bite was. I'm just casting, not giving up. And I told that walleye, I said, look, if I don't catch another walleye, you're going free. If I catch another walleye, you're coming home. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
so I have that other walleye on the line. Now I don't have a net, and he feels a little bigger. It was like a 42, 43 centimeter walleye,
Oh,
and
my
he's
God.
fighting good. I don't have a net. I'm at least 3 feet up in the air. So I'm like, okay, I'll just pull him up with my line, and it's 17 pounds fluorocarbon. So I'm like, it'll be fine. But he swallowed the bait, and I guess as I was pulling him up, it chopped on his teeth. So the walleye fell, and I just go, I lost him. So he fell in the water. I lost sight. I turn around. I'm not looking anymore. I turn around, and I hear splash, 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 splash. I'm like, what in the world? So I look, and the walleye is hanging on some branches that's in the water. He's there. He's
Oh,
half in the water, half in
oh
branches.
my
I'm like,
God.
hey, he's still there. And so I go to grab the net. As I grab the net, he gets out of the branches, goes into the murky water. I don't see him anymore. I put the net in the water. Doop, boat walleye are in my net.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
yeah, I got him. And he still had
Now,
my lure in his mouth. I was like, yeah.
that's awesome.
Crazy,
Now, see,
crazy.
you learned a good lesson. Always record, even if you
I
think you don't
know.
need to.
I know.
I,
Yeah.
I try not to do anything without recording because I go, it's Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
I swear, like if I don't if I leave my good camera home, I'm gonna see something spectacular.
Yeah.
Or if I don't record, then I'm gonna catch the biggest fish in my life or something like that.
Yeah. Me, it's the
Always seems
same
to be
thing.
the
I'm
case.
filming. It'll be an hour and a half. Nothing's biting. So I'm like, oh, forget it. I won't change battery. The battery's dead on the GoPro. Forget it. I take
Yep.
it off. I'm like, I'm giving up. I do a cast. Everything's turned off. On that first cast with no camera turning, boom, I catch a big fish. I'm like, you serious, man?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I know. I just keep the camera rolling as long as possible.
Yeah,
So
me too. I got a lot of batteries on me now. I have them
yeah.
in a box. When one's dead, I turn it in on the other side.
Yep.
So now I know which one's dead. So I film. I just film a lot.
Yep, I got the hard drives to prove it because I just go home and I transfer everything and then I'm like, oh, this one's full. I got time to buy a new giant hard drive.
There we go.
It gets annoying. I need to go through and clean up, and I'm always like, one of these days I'll do that, and then
Yeah.
I never seem to find the time to go through. Like, I
Oh
mean,
no, there's too much footage, man.
I'd
What are we
rather
gonna
be
do?
fishing than watching footage of me fishing and
Yeah,
not catching anything for,
yeah,
sometimes you have a spell of an hour where you don't catch anything, and
yeah,
I'm sure I've got how many hours of like not catching anything just stored on hard drives, but
yeah. Well, I'm starting to to delete some stuff now because
yeah,
I'm gonna buy another hard drive.
yeah. I figured mine will be in the Smithsonian someday, so I
Yeah.
I should save all the footage. I'm joking,
Have
but
there been moments when you questioned whether you could keep up with all your responsibilities, which is filming, fishing, and fatherhood?
I try not, so I don't take my YouTube commitment too seriously. When I have the time, I try to pour myself into it a little more. If
Yeah,
life gets, busy, I take a step back. I go, people understand.
yeah,
That's the cool thing is I mean I don't have a big enough audience that I'm worried about upsetting the masses,
yeah,
yeah, I might be hurting myself by doing that, if I'm not getting watch hours or something like that. Um, but I'm like, whatever, like as long as I stick with this and give people something pretty to look at, then, things will,
yeah,
things will grow, or, they'll, I'm not like obsessed with growth. I always get these guys messaging me on Instagram like,
oh
"Oh,
yeah,
can you help me?" I hate Instagram.
it's
I
scam.
mean, oh my gosh, I block so many people. It's like it's probably my number two favorite hobby is blocking people on Instagram
Yeah,
because it's
uh,
mostly like scammers.
yeah,
But it's just I just do this for fun.
yeah,
And like I say, so if life gets a little crazy, I just say, okay, like, now we had a baby, so I'm like,
yeah,
maybe I'll get a fishing trip in and I'll post something. Um, but then, the kids are going to get older eventually. So I've heard. Um, and,
they will, they will.
I don't think I'm going to work forever. So, as long as I can, stay somewhat healthy and somewhat active, I think I'll be trying to get out and do things,
Yeah,
whenever when time permits, and kind of show them around, and
yeah.
just I'll have the
Are we,
camera sometimes.
are we going to be seeing more of your sidekick in 2025?
My little buddy,
Yeah,
he'll probably be fishing with me.
yeah,
I'm gonna be working half days this summer. Part of that's because of I get leave for the baby, right?
yeah,
But the kids will be off school for some of that. So I figured he and I will probably hit the stream a few times. And now that I know that I can use bait in that stretch, I just got to get him casting.
yeah,
The thing, it's moving water though, so it's not just like, oh, he's throwing out a bobber, and like he's got to kind of pay attention.
yeah,
Because you don't want to get like hung up and stuff, and like, okay, now the everything's in the brush and we're caught, and I'm a little
yeah,
nervous about that because I know that'll stress me out. Because I'm kind of high strung and I want to, especially if I go out there and I'm like, oh, I got to get this video or something,
yeah,
you
yeah,
get into that mindset, and then you're like, okay, like take your kid fishing, like
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the more important thing.
Yeah,
Like, who cares about the video? The video should be secondary.
yeah,
So
you're absolutely right.
I'll have to keep that in mind. It's
Well,
just,
I did that mistake this winter. I already talked about it on another podcast, so I won't make the story too long about it. But I brought my daughter and my wife up to ice to go ice fishing for trout, and
yeah,
my goal, my real goal at the moment, was to make a family video of us catching fish that we could look
yeah,
at together. You know what I mean?
yep,
And really did not turn out the way that I expected. With my daughter, 4 years old.
yeah,
She was scared, she was cold, she was crying, she was hungry, she wanted to go
yeah,
home. And
yeah,
like the video just didn't work out after all. So I
yeah,
put all that away. But then I realized, I should have just said, forget the video for this one and really concentrate on just the family for this one time. And
yeah,
that's a mistake that I made that I know next time, if I could do a video, all the better, but it's going to be secondary.
yeah.
It's going to
Next time,
be,
save the video for when you're catching walleye with a net.
there we go. You know? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to make the right choices.
Yeah,
Good one.
but yeah, JP is great. I think he likes fishing. I think it's just hard because there's not lots of, I don't know. I don't feel like there's many kid-friendly places to catch fish in
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah.
Um,
Do you
and
have any piscicultures?
I don't know. So we don't have that word here, but more
No,
like a hat type thing,
yeah, like a
or
hatchery. Yeah, sorry. Maybe it's a French
no,
word and I'm just forcing it in English.
it's okay. It's a um yeah, but there are, but some of them are further away, and it's just it's harder to get to. And they stock little ponds with bluegill and stuff, but they can be kind of finicky. Even bluegill, which is crazy because usually bluegill aren't finicky at all. Um, but that's why I there was a we went last May. He and I went to that stream, and I go, all right, we can either try to go fishing like somewhere where you can catch like bluegill and things like that. And I go, we probably won't catch much. I was like, or we can go over to the stream. I'll put you on my back. We'll get out there.
Yeah,
I put you on the bank. If I hook one, I'll let you reel it in. We'll take turns reeling them in or something like that.
yeah,
And we did that, and it ended up we had a good time. He was like thought it was the best thing ever. He's like, we caught so many fish. We caught like 10 or 11. You know,
yeah.
like Google Street View drove by at one point. I
Oh
think that was
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I keep checking to see if like there's a picture of JP and I like at the river,
Oh,
but
that would be
it
amazing.
hasn't updated yet. So I don't know if they were recording or not.
Okay.
The existing photo is really old, so
Oh,
it's a high
maybe.
high likelihood that they did, but I keep checking, but nothing yet. Um, but he had a great time with that, and then he likes going ice fishing. I think mainly because there's like snacks, like
Yeah,
my wife she's tries to make sure the kids don't eat too much junk food, but when we go ice fishing, all the rules kind of get forgotten a
yeah.
little.
Well, that was a tip from Dan from DC Outdoors on my last episode. He said if you want to keep them happy, you have to bring snacks,
Yep,
which is
yep,
why he got the name Snack Squad.
yep. And Dan knows a thing or two.
Oh yeah, he taught me a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. And then having an insulated shelter helps too.
Yeah,
Because my son did get kind of cold the first time we went out, and I was like kind of not knowing what to do, so I kind of wrapped him up in a sleeping bag, and
yeah.
the trip didn't go the way I had hoped. But then we got back after then. He goes, "Oh, that was fun, Dad." I was
Oh, that's
like,
good.
"You had fun? We didn't catch anything, and and you were cold." And he's like, "Yeah, but it was fun. When are we gonna go again?" I was like,
Oh,
"Okay."
mission accomplished.
Yeah, I was like, "All right, cool." So, and we did go 2 times this year, which is good. And we eventually caught a fish, which seemed like it took forever just to get that first fish with him.
Do you
Uh,
think you're going to try some camping by a stream, maybe? Sleep
oh
the night
yeah.
by a stream, yeah?
Yeah, and we did that last year too, and we did a trip. So we had like we did one trip and we camped by that stream where I catch fish all the time. So we actually there's a campsite not far away.
Okay.
Camp there during the week, and there's nobody there during the week, which is kind of cool. And I did some fishing. I caught some fish. I don't think I ever made a video out of it, um, because then we went down to another place. We went down to this big reservoir that was probably an hour and a half away from there. We were kind of doing like a traveling trip, and the bugs were so bad. Everybody was just like, "Can we go?"
Yeah,
But that's where I caught a huge rainbow on a big old crankbait. Um, and so I want to go back there and do that again. But we were supposed to camp there and we ended up calling it because they just couldn't handle the bugs. It wasn't that
yeah,
they were biting. There's just so many flies and mayflies and things.
yeah.
They were just, my family was like, this is not fun. We have nowhere to eat
Nah,
because we
yeah,
can't be outside.
yeah. You need to
And
get like one of those like screen tents and you put like a little
yeah,
table in there.
yeah, that would have been good. But it is a lot of bugs.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended up turning and going home, turning around on that night, and we got dinner someplace and then went home. And then a few days later, we're like, well, where are we going to go now? So then that's when we went to the Colorado River, and my wife found a really cool campsite, and the river was flowing like, I think you probably saw that video. It was like there were big logs going by and
Yeah,
crazy stuff, and that was nuts. But I still managed to catch a few fish on that
that's
stream.
incredible.
So they were on the sides out of the craziness.
Yeah,
So and they're still got to eat.
yeah,
Um, so you just use it to your advantage. But and I learned a few things by doing that too. So But yeah, we like to do that. We don't have any reservations, which we're really bad about that.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that's it. Us too. I'm always a last minute guy.
yeah, yeah. My wife was like, "Let's make reservations," and then you gotta. It's so hard to know what's going on in our lives at that point
Yeah,
to plan, like even a handful of camping trips like that. So
yeah,
yeah, I tend to say let's just go during the week when we know that there's going to be openings, and I'll
yeah,
just take some time off.
yeah.
So that's kind of I'd rather do that, and I actually have a good amount of time off through my job, so that's
That's
I'm
good.
fortunate.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So and like I say, it's just taking a few days.
Yeah,
But yeah, so hopefully do more of that, and obviously with a newborn, we'll see. We'll see
yeah.
how it goes, but they
Oh,
grow up pretty
it'll
fast.
all work out.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. We have a huge tent, so we have like an 8-person tent that we got years ago just to have space, and now it's like, well, now we need the 8-person tent. It feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so.
If you could fish with anyone, alive or from history, who would it be and why?
I I'd have to say Jesus just because he knows where the fish are, but
Yeah, yeah, that's a
no,
good answer.
I am a and that's a joke, but I do find myself I actually am a Christian. I was raised Catholic and still am. And faith is a big part of my life. So there's a lot of times where I'm out there in the stream and I'm praying. If I'm not catching anything, I'm just praying, and either I'm just praying I'll catch a fish, or I'm just burning the
Mm.
time by praying. But yeah, like I think I have to be, because if I could be with anybody, I'd have to meet Jesus.
All
Uh,
right.
but and that would go for even if it wasn't fishing. I think that's the one person I'd want to meet more than anybody. Um, so yeah, but then again, I read the stories, in the Bible, the gospel, where they're like, he's either yelling from shore, cast out on this side, or,
Yeah.
put the nets over here, and, they're throwing nets in the water, and they can't even haul in that many fish. I'm like, where are you when I need you?
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe Moses, he could
Yeah,
split the
there you
water,
go.
you know?
You part it and look
There
into
we
it.
go. Oh, there's a nice
No,
big muskie.
that's probably like a cliche answer, but
Yeah.
I think that's what I'd have to
Well,
say.
I wasn't expecting it, so it's good.
Well, good. I figured everybody would say that, but I don't know. But I mean, thankfully, I've gotten to fish with my dad a lot over the years. My dad doesn't live here in Colorado, um, so so I don't get to fish with him all that much anymore.
When
But
he visits you in Colorado, though, he must be amazed.
amazed how.
Well, to see you living in Colorado,
Oh,
the
yeah,
scenic.
I think he's definitely a sightseer.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't like to get out as much, so and when they come visit, they come to see the kids,
Yeah.
so it is harder. But I've drugged them to quite a few places over the years. I mean, I've lived here for, oh my gosh, 18 years almost now.
Okay.
So I've been in Colorado a while, so that's weird to think about because it doesn't seem like 18 years. But I've been here long enough that I've taken them to cool parts of the state. I actually got my parents to go up to the top of a mountain with me.
Oh,
One of
yeah.
the like 14,000 feet. It's a one where you can drive
Uh,
up,
okay.
then you get out of the car, and I got my mom and dad. They're taking a picture up there, and
Yeah.
I mean those memories stand out to me.
Yeah.
But there's so many cool places to see here. I think my dad definitely likes it. Um, but they live part of the year in Florida now too, and it's yeah, I'm attracted to all kinds of natural beauty. So I can look at the ocean, I can look at mountains. I like I like the simple beauty. Like, and so your mom is Sue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the stuff your mom posts, like, and I don't know how you would talk about camera footage. That woman's got to
Yeah.
be sitting on top of a lot of hours of footage because
Man, it's incredible. Hey, there's
I'm
so
like,
much.
I was like, how, holy cow, she's posting another video. Like, how does she get all
There's
this stuff?
trail cams. She's
Yeah, she's
outside,
got
but she's
everything.
retired, eh? So,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But I think she's got a work ethic.
oh
Um,
yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
seems like she doesn't. I don't think there's any moss growing on your mom.
But she's very passionate. She's very happy to do that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. No, I get a kick out of that. But this and here's the thing: when I watch your content, especially when you go to some of these places, I think there's one where I was like, oh my gosh, like where you see that really dark water,
yeah,
uh, like it's almost like a darkish brown tea-colored water
yeah.
sometimes,
That's
and
because of
you
all
see.
the pine trees.
Yeah, and you see that, and then you see these forests, and from the air, and you go, "Wow, that's beautiful," But where you get to go hunting, like that wooded areas next to farm plots and things like that,
Yeah,
I just find those so. I just love seeing that stuff too. I really like Don from Bucktails Outdoors when he shows New Hampshire.
yeah,
Um, there's just some, like I say, there's beautiful places all over, and I love seeing them all.
yeah,
And so I think my dad's kind of the same way. Like he's just one of the like, oh, check out this show on, National Geographic or what,
yeah,
check out this thing or check out this cool animal or check
yeah,
out, oh, look at this celestial thing.
yeah,
And I think he just loves creation. So
yeah.
um
Well, just like
well,
I see a nature show and it's Africa,
yeah,
and I just love seeing that scenery because we don't see that every day. It's like
right.
your channel. Whenever I watch your videos, it's not scenery that I'm used to seeing, and then
Right.
it's the same thing for you when you watch mine. It's like two different
Yeah.
worlds.
Yep. And I think that's the nice thing, and I feel like that's why I mean that's one of the things I try to capture, whether it's with photos or video or when I'm doing a fishing video or something else or just
Yeah,
taking photos. It's just saying like, hey, look at this cool stuff that's out there. And
yeah,
and maybe somebody else. I know there's been some people that comment on my videos that are not like regular people that I communicate with that are just like, hey, thanks, I couldn't make it out to Colorado this year, but it was nice getting to like watch your video and get to do that. And
yeah,
like those are the comments that I'm like, man, that's where I'm like,
yeah,
this is the target. This is the kind of thing that I want.
exactly.
Somebody appreciates it for what it is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then some people maybe they'll be like, hey, I need to get outside.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
incredible because you're answering the questions before I ask them because my next question was like, what do you hope people take away from your videos? And you just said it. That's
yeah,
exactly it.
yeah, yeah. Well, it works out like that
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like I like I said kind of said earlier, like I'm not out there trying to teach people fishing tips or tricks. Now, a good friend of mine said, "Hey, you should show people what you're using because some people do want to know that."
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I'll do that. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not out there to be like, "Oh, this is the lure you must have." Like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind like saying, "Hey, this is what I'm using."
Yeah.
I think it works really
Well,
good.
that's how I'm like that with my channel is this is what I'm using. I'm not saying it's the best out there, but it's what works for me.
Yeah.
It's what gives me confidence to catch a fish.
Yep.
But I don't really showcase too much, but I do at the same time I do want to teach my viewers, but I'm not out there as much as the how-to videos,
Right. Right.
like those people that really like how to fish.
Yeah.
Me, I just catch fish and then I hope that the viewers
Yeah.
are paying attention to how I did it because I don't necessarily explain it all the way. But
Yep.
I mean, if you guys watch the videos properly, even yours, go like to fish for brown trout in those rivers,
Yeah.
just watching how you do it is enough. We're learning
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
which bait you're putting on.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's not like I say. I managed to fly fish when I was a kid out here, and all I'd ever seen was people doing this and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
on TV.
yeah,
And but at some point you see what they did, and then you kind of figure it out on your own. And
yeah.
yeah, but it's good stuff. So
All right. If you had to give one piece of advice to someone pursuing their passion, what would it be?
pursuing their passion. Hmm. Pursuing their passion. I would just say like let me use fishing as an analogy, right? So some people like that stream where I go to, right? Some people are like, "Oh, I hear that's really highly pressured and you can't catch fish there," right?
Yeah,
Or some people would say, "Oh, fish wouldn't eat that. Fish wouldn't bite on that lure." Like what? You can't catch fish on that. Like no fish is going to bite on that. So there's always going to be people that are either not, they don't even know that they're naysayers. Um, but there's people who think they know stuff, and it's okay to doubt people.
Yeah,
And I feel like I've learned that from experience. Is it's you don't have to listen to everything everybody says, and it's okay. It mind you, I do believe the philosophy that smart people learn from their own mistakes, but wise
yeah,
people learn from other people's mistakes.
yeah,
But at the same time, you can't know that the other person's wise unless you really know them, right?
yeah.
So if somebody that you don't know is telling you like, oh, the fish won't bite, they won't bite a big
Mm-hmm.
lure like that. A trout would never bite that. You say, okay, well, I'm going to try, and then
Yeah,
you catch a giant trout in a reservoir and a blue crankbait that you're like, I never thought a rainbow would take that.
yeah,
And then you go, oh gosh, I shouldn't listen to people. So I would just say, just be willing to learn things yourself. It doesn't mean you have to spend an eternity if something's not working, but just being willing to say, hey, I'm going to try this, and be willing to either fail and learn from it, or you know just gain knowledge however you can.
yeah,
I just feel like there's so many, like I say, fishing just makes it easier for me to make an analogy, but there's people who say,
yeah,
oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, that's not going to
yeah.
work, and it's like, well, you don't know
Sometimes
that.
it's a motivation too.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of, just don't listen, like, trust your gut sometimes, and be willing to, put in the effort, and just
Yeah,
have fun with it, and
never give up.
yeah, don't give up. Exactly.
Yeah.
So on your adventures and all your outdoor excursions, like, what's the worst equipment malfunction that you've experienced
Equipment malfunction.
when
Uh,
you're trying to shoot a video, or maybe not, but I'm thinking
well, I'll
like
be
when you're
honest with
trying to
you.
shoot a video.
My GoPro 7, it made me swear a lot. I got mad, and then that's when I finally invested into the GoPro 11 because the GoPro 7 had good quality. I was always impressed, the 4K quality that I never felt the need to go get the higher GoPros.
Hmm.
But for some reason, I always have the GoPro on my hat mount there, the clip
Hmm.
mount. And
Yep.
like I would press record, I know I would press record, and for some reason it would not turn on. It would freeze, it would be dead. I would have to take out the battery. But the GoPro, it would go 1 week without doing it. But then it would always do it in the worst of times where I had a 40-inch muskie once and all you guys saw was the release clip because when I went to go look at my footage, the whole fight, the strike, everything was not recording. I had to take out the battery, put the battery back in, and then I showed the release. And then it eventually happened during a turkey hunt. It didn't turn on, and that was the time. I don't know if you remember the video where my bullet was a dud.
Oh,
The
yes.
shotgun shell was a dud,
Yep.
and my head mount wasn't working. So all you guys saw was the front view of me. I have the gun on the turkey. You guys would have saw like, and then I would have put like a split screen view of that dud scene. You
Right.
know what I mean? And then I
Yeah.
realized after, when everything is over, I look at my hat. The GoPro's not on. I had to remove the battery. That's when I said finished. GoPro
Yeah.
7. I still
Yeah.
have it. I never turned it back on since.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's probably one of my malfunctions.
Yeah. I've had my fair share of GoPro issues, whether it be overheating. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Overheating cameras.
Yeah,
Back before, so I started with, I think I had a GoPro 9,
yeah.
and I had this weird issue where on certain kinds of frame rates, you'd see a line down the middle of the screen.
Okay.
And sent them the files and all that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is bad." Like, so they're like, "We'll send you out a new camera." Well, I was like, I had read other people were having the same issue all the time,
Okay.
so I donated the new camera to charity. I
Okay.
didn't even open it, and then I went and got the 10, and I think that's what I'm still running is the 10. But then they came out with those Enduro batteries, which
Yeah.
the white ones, those things
Yeah.
work so much better.
Oh yeah, well I got 6 of those.
Yeah, I
They
got
even
six.
lasted like until like what
Yeah.
freezing temperatures and they're gonna last.
Yeah. So I guess I got I that made things better because they work a lot better in cold too. So when I'm
Yeah.
out in cold weather, they actually survive. The funny thing was when we were ice fishing, JP and I, my camera was overheating because the shelter was so warm.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we're overheating in an ice shelter? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?"
Oh, they
But
hold their heat good.
yeah. But so yeah, I've had those GoPro issues. On that the in the fall, or it was late August when I took Joe, my hunting buddy, I took him up fishing at that remote lake where we really slaughter them. Um, we got dumped on the way back, and
Oh,
everything got wet,
okay.
and I didn't realize it because I had my drone in a hard case,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like a soft hard case. I mean, it's like a cloth hard, but it's a hard case.
Yeah.
It got fried, and I was like,
Oh no.
but I was able to get one like super cheap to replace it, so it wasn't. I like found somebody selling a used one,
Yeah.
and and it's fine. So I was able to get it
It's a
rectified.
lot of investment,
Yeah,
and
it
it
just
hurts.
stunk. And then I got a camera for underwater, and I got a DJI for that,
Oh yeah.
so I
I
can do
like
the
DJI. Yeah.
underwater releases. Well, I'm still getting used to it, but I didn't realize that I had I there's a little flap for the USB to
Okay.
when I packed up the camera, I didn't realize that that was still open.
Oh no.
So I had it dangling from I had it because I have it on a float stick on hanging from my vest,
Yeah.
and I had was bending down or something. The camera goes in the water, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, like the hatch was open. And I'm like, oh, is it and then it wouldn't record, and it was acting all weird, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the entire inside of the camera is wet. And then I thought maybe it was just that section that got wet. No, it's like the whole thing's wet inside. And I'm like, oh, did I just fry my camera? It didn't. It somehow survived.
Survived. Wow.
And and I was able to, and it's running fine. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So kudos to DJI
Yeah,
for
yeah,
making
yeah.
a camera that somehow withstood being dunked when it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But man, there's that because I was like, I fried a DJI drone. Now I'm gonna fry a
Yeah.
DJI camera. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, and then I broke a rod tip once. It's just like, and stuff's bound to happen when you start going out more.
Yeah.
It's just statistics, that
Yeah.
thankfully I haven't crashed my drone. Did you do that once or was that somebody else?
No, it was me. I crashed my drone. You know what? I crashed my drone twice in the water.
Yeah.
Once, like a really nonsense accident when I
Yeah.
when I did my deer hunting preparation video. It's just a normal video. No one I'm there and I'm whacking down the trees. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that video.
I
It
remember
was
if I did. I usually like those, so I'm
Yeah, last
sure I
fall
won.
is I'm preparing my deer hunt. I wanted to put my food plot maybe like a good 50, 75 feet further. So I open up a new section and the next day, I go back with my daughter, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna do like a little drone scene." So
Yeah.
everything is going good. Everything is under control. I put the drone up in the air, and as I'm coming back to go land, I go down, but then I have the drone facing me, and I'm not looking at my controller anymore. I'm looking at the drone. So I want to go towards me, so I pull the joystick towards me instead of going forward. You know what I mean? So my
Uh,
drone goes backwards, right in the tree, but it gets
oh,
stuck in the tree. So I'm
oh
like,
no.
oh, and I had no choice to shake the tree to try to catch the drone, but I didn't catch it, landed in the mud.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. It still works. I'm so lucky, but it doesn't have as good balance as before. I changed all
Yeah.
the little wings on it, but
Propellers and all
yeah, the
that. Yeah.
propellers, but you see it now, like if you look at my content, my future content, the camera before used to be perfect still. Now you're gonna see a little wave constantly.
Right.
I'm
Right.
beating it up, but I just got to keep practicing. I can't be scared to use it.
Yeah, that stuff happens. I'm always afraid of eagles and hawks,
Yeah,
like
me
when I
too.
send it up. That's why
I'm
I'm
sure
always
it's
like,
gonna happen one day. An
yeah,
eagle's gonna take my drone, I'm sure.
I'm waiting for it. So it's just gonna happen as
If
soon
we're
as
recording on front view, see the eagle swipe in, that would be
right,
cool.
right.
Drone
So
died, but best
yeah,
scene.
yeah. So well, cool.
All
So
right.
what are we gonna expect to see from wild game anglers in the next few months?
Well, I want to do my podcast hopefully until the end of April. And then the end of April is turkey hunting.
Okay.
So I'm really anxious to do that. I'm going to film. I want to go back to my normal videos that I had in the past.
Yep.
There's fishing. I want to try to do more fishing this year. As like I have some pauses usually, like where I go out, then I'm going to post a video in 3 weeks. I want to try to be more constant, see how I could do that. Maybe fish after work, maybe do a few sessions after work. So let's say if I go, because I finish early, I start early, but I finish early. So like I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, I start work at 5, but I'm
Mm.
done at 1:30, so I could probably arrive at some spots by 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I need to be home for
Yeah.
4 o'clock to go get the kids at
Yep.
daycare. So it gives me like an hour and a half to fish. So if I could maybe film different days and then maybe do an editing of like how my week went fishing, and then oh, on Monday I caught this, on Tuesday I caught that, and I do the scenes. That's maybe a plan I have in mind to be able to be more constant in my posting.
Yeah.
But I want to show more hunting.
Yeah.
And I have a surprise coming up that I'll be posting. So tomorrow I have a crossbow coming.
Oh, nice.
I ordered myself a crossbow. So
Nice.
the Excalibur Micro Mag 340 with the dead zone scope. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And
Now, is that gonna be for deer or turkey or both?
well, for both. I'm gonna try it first time for turkey. So I want to do a video where I'm gonna target practice, get my aim ready because I never shot a crossbow. I shot one once in my life, but
Yep.
like where I'm gonna have to really adjust my aim and be ready for turkey hunting. So that's gonna be the new challenge for me for my turkey hunt because I've got a few already now with the shotgun. I want a new challenge. I would like
Yeah.
to get one with the crossbow.
Cool.
So that's the update. And so other than that, I think I said it all. Oh, my deer hunt. It's Dan from DC Outdoors. He saw that I've been struggling with my deer hunting over the few years during the rifle season because of hunting pressure,
Right.
neighbors.
Yeah.
So he's the one who gave me the idea, why don't I go on archery season? So I
Huh.
said, you know what? That's a good idea. I have a
Nice.
bow. I already have a bow, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of a bow and arrow. I really
Right.
like shooting a gun, and I figured,
Yeah.
hey, the crossbow's the next best thing to a gun.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna go a month earlier during crossbow season,
Yeah.
and it's not the rut, so I'm gonna rely more on the food plot.
Right.
But
Right.
I know they're all there because once rifle season opens, you we see them on my spy cam. There's so many big bucks.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna try to get one earlier this year. And if I don't succeed, then I'll just go back with rifle. So
Yeah.
we should be seeing more hunting.
Oh, that's cool. And I love seeing hearing how Dan and just that's the cool thing is all the like I've met so many cool people on YouTube.
Yeah.
And my wife always thinks it's funny. She's like, "You don't know these people." I was like, "Yeah, but I know them."
Oh
Like,
yeah.
because I
Yeah.
go, we're all cut from the same mold.
Yeah.
I go, so like I can relate. Like I relate to these guys more than I relate to a lot of people I meet. So
Yeah.
and that includes yourself. Like it's just there's certain people that you're just like, hey, I can just tell that these are good people. They're just salt
Yeah.
of the earth people that
Yeah.
appreciate nature and
Oh,
there's
there's so much similarities. Like you said earlier, when you were younger, you go in the bush and you would forage some raspberries, wild
yeah
raspberries. I would do the same. No
yeah
joke.
yeah
Wild blueberries, wild blackberries.
yeah
I
yeah
would do that as a kid. Go out with the ATV, park the ATV, go walk to the bush. That's why I think we have this little community on YouTube where we find people and we connect with them.
yeah.
And like you imagine if we lived closer to each other,
Yeah.
like
We'd all be great
oh
friends.
man, like
Or we'd be mad that we're like, why is
no,
this guy
no,
like
my
trying to do YouTube
competitor.
videos in my spot?
No, you're right, you're right. So it's good that we stay this that we keep apart. No, I'm kidding.
It's good, but it'd be nice to if
Oh
we
yeah.
could like meet
It
up
would be
someday
fun. Oh yeah,
too.
for sure.
Yeah.
All of you, all of the people so far that I had on my podcast is all people that I would love to be able to do a video collaboration with one day.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Oh yeah.
And it's always one of those things like see where life goes. So
Yeah.
that's where I'd hope. Yeah, I love doing collaborations with people. I mean, there's been some people that they're almost so much like me. I'm like, hey, if you make it out here, just let me know
Yeah.
and we'll get together. And like Josh from the Water Spotter, he's like, were you serious? And I was like, yeah, dude, just come on out. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay. So we went up and we hit. I mean, he's a good guy, you know, so we hit it
Yeah.
off pretty good. So um, yeah, so I'd love to do. I like doing collabs like that, and um, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna get draw for hunting in the fall because it's always so random here.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of deer points and I have a bunch of antelope pronghorn points.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to save those pronghorn points for next year and try to get a good tag, and then I'm hoping. So that's like a year and a half off. I'd like to do that hunt, put that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but like moose and goat, those are just random. Like I just happen to get those. Like
And
it's
the goat was actually pretty cool to hunt.
yeah.
Like the way you
Talk about
you
equipment
prepared the
malfunction.
whole season, you did a few videos where you're scouting for them and
Yeah,
locate them, and then you see them on the other side of the mountain. But
yeah.
they're not really scared, I noticed. They're not nervous.
They're not because especially where I was at. There's a ton of hikers. Like it's
Okay.
like you want to talk like there's no like you want to talk about a popular spot
So they
there's
must be scared of gunshots, those hikers, or they're
well
used to it.
you can only hunt Monday through Friday where I was, so
Okay.
so it reduces the impact with
Yeah.
hike, but that nothing went according to plan on that trip. My rifle fell over on the first day, and then my
Yeah, I
sights
remember that.
jacked up, and then they weren't the front came through like the day before season,
Mm.
and they just screwed up. They'd been in that basin the whole time, and then
Okay.
and I'm just like, oh, why does this happen to me? Like
It's a challenge, and
every
you
time I
overcame it.
swear there's some wrench that comes at me, but you know I've learned it. I'm not a trophy hunter, so
Yeah.
I'm not like if I get what I get, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean I want to take the most viable animal, the most mature, you know, the best,
Yeah.
you know, but at some point you're like you've invested so much in getting up to that elevation or whatever, or getting, you know, you've been out there for days and you feel like you stink and you're like, okay, it's time to pull the trigger, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well, congratulations. That was a nice hunt.
yeah, well, again, it's being flexible is important.
Yeah.
So because it didn't go according to plan, but you know, it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
but anyhow, so yeah, hopefully more of that, and then I still got to do my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, so I'll plug that
All
at
right.
at some point. I got to figure out when, and I've been trying to like figure out because I just got to pick the day, and then I'll try to do some shorts or something just to let people know that it's coming.
Yeah.
I too plan to give away some good stuff. So
All right.
it's always hard because I don't know how to get stuff to Canada.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, but if it's too complicated, to be honest,
yeah,
like do it only USA. I feel bad because and now I know it too because I did some giveaways and I won some giveaways and I
yeah,
noticed that shipping isn't fun. I won a giveaway from Doug from Deep Puck Fishing and Outdoors. I don't know if you know
yeah,
him,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I want to get a giveaway from him, and it was DHL, I believe, who delivered it. And when they came to my door, they're like, "There's custom fees," and so I covered them, and I was just like, "Come on, custom fees! Like, there's
yeah,
always something. There's always a charge when there's like duties, duties
yeah,
fees, custom fees, and stuff
yeah,
like that. So like, if it's too complicated or too expensive, like, we still love you, man. You could just leave
yeah.
Canada
Well,
out.
what I would do is I'd try to figure out like a different way to handle it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's just so like
We'll have to find some illegal fentanyl like transporters. There that I'm
you
joking.
mind taking some decals into Canada for me? Yeah, just slap these on your fentanyl bottles and then
There we
give them to
go.
this guy, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Yeah, but so yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm just kind of playing it by ear right now because you know we got to figure out the temperament of the latest
Yeah,
baby.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and and
Or else
then
there's gonna be some tariffs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, tariffs. That's the other thing. I was like, oh man, this is not a good time to be doing a giveaway to
Oh
Canada.
no.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do plan on doing on something like that. And I want to, and maybe I'll pick your brain when the time comes and figure out like a way if somebody in Canada wins, like if they
Yeah.
put in for it, I can be like, here's an alternative thing that I can buy on Amazon.ca and
Yeah,
it'll
you know what?
just
That's a
take
good
care of
idea.
it.
Or a gift card. A
Yeah,
gift card,
yeah,
to a Cabela's or a Bass Pro Shops.
Yep.
That's a good idea, as simple as
Yep.
that.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
because there are, there's Dan and you
yeah,
and the other Henry,
yeah.
and I don't know who else from Canada there might be, but yeah. But
Huh?
anyhow, so got to figure that out. But
All
yeah,
right.
the other thing I might do is for like one of the things you saw some of my photos.
Yeah.
I think I tried to choose like some of the best of the best, but
Oh yeah.
I might like either do like a canvas or a frame print of one of those as part
Yeah.
of the giveaway and let the
Okay.
person be like, what do you want? You want a goat? You want a sheep?
Yeah. Oh, you
You know,
could do a calendar with that.
right? Oh, that'd be cool. I should
Yeah.
make a calendar. Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, that's good. Because it's all just Instagram squares if you do like
Yeah.
a wall calendar.
Yeah. 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 That would be
The
amazing.
square shots are great,
Yeah.
So hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we'll see what's up for me. I don't like I say, I don't really have much of an agenda other than just put time in when I can and then do fun stuff like this. So
That's
yeah.
good. Well, Ryan, this pretty much wraps up all the questions I had for you today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It was a nice break from all the other stuff I've been doing while I'm on paternity leave. So thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure to be honest. I'm really happy that you accepted the invitation and to have this conversation. So, if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out Ryan's YouTube channel, Jumbletron, for even more breathtaking adventures. He also has an Instagram account where he uploads his magnificent pictures of mountain goats, wildlife, even his brown and rainbow trout. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and even share it with a friend. I'll see you all next time. Until then, take care and keep chasing your passions.